welcome to episode 42 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And today we got some Ghul. We got the return of your favorite, the Riddler.
We also have another character that I was very surprised to see.
Yeah, I was not expecting it either. It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
A guy who pops up, I think, twice in the DC anime universe. But we're going to keep everyone in suspense as to who that is, because most people probably haven't actually watched the episode. And in the meantime, Cameron, what's happening in the world of comic book movie news?
Some stuff. So we haven't recorded in over a week. So news-wise, we're a little behind.
Yes.
On informing you. So everyone probably knows some of the stuff we're going to talk about.
It's too bad there was no big news that came out today.
I know.
The episode comes out tomorrow. We would be very timely, but we're not.
No. I mean, my big news was Nolan North, who voices Superboy in the Young Justice TV series, has come out and said they've finished recording the first 5 episodes, which is great news because that means that the season's actually happening.
Yeah, it's real. It's going to happen.
I've mentioned this before. Young Justice is very high up on my favorite animated shows, and that was just kind of the best news I could get in the morning.
I'm super excited about it too. I've only watched Young Justice once.
I'm
relatively
recently
recently
rewatching it for like the 30th time.
I've contemplated going back a few times because it is really, really good. I was always dismissive of it. Like, how can it be anywhere near as good as the DCAU? And it's just as good.
Yeah, it's so like the characters are so well written, and it has like a little bit of the JLU element where season 2 they add in a bunch of new faces to keep things a little fresh. But at the end of the day, it's still like just the core sidekicks, and it's their story.
It's teen drama.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's such good teen drama.
I know. That will they, won't they of Superboy and
Miss Martian?
Miss Martian, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
The animated Ross and Rachel.
Yeah. I mean, every show needs its Ross and Rachel.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think it was, Sam and Diane before that, right? Wasn't that Cheers?
Yep.
I don't know. It's before my time.
There's, 9 seasons as well?
No, I don't think... No, because
7?
Frasier was like 9 or 10, and Frasier actually ran longer than Cheers, which is weird. Like, more people know the spinoff than the original, which is not very common.
Well, I don't think more people know it. I think it lasted longer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're also talking about, like, longevity doesn't always hold... Like, Bones was on for 11 seasons or something stupid like that.
Yeah, and Serenity was on for an abbreviated 1 season.
Yeah.
Not Serenity, Firefly. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. So, nor is it ever coming back.
I know. I know. Watch Con Men, guys.
Yeah, right? I still haven't done that.
It's good.
Yeah. I mean, there's not other like major news. We're finally getting Phantasm on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome. There's not much more to say about that other than finally. There was news of a Watchmen TV show from Damon Lindelof.
Ooh.
How do you feel about that?
I am now just learning about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, is it going to be just like following the characters, or will it be kind of like the what was the series that came out about 5 years ago?
Oh, before Watchmen?
I haven't read any of that. Before the Watchmen.
I haven't heard anything one way or the other. I mean, it's challenging because in a lot of ways the movie is a pretty accurate adaptation, especially the ultimate cut, which I will always defend.
Chris,
I really like it.
Be careful. It's a Zack Snyder film.
I know,
defending.
but hey, that's the one I will always give credit for. I actually think his ultimate cut of Watchmen is really, really great. I get why some people were mad that they changed the ending, but in some ways I actually think the new ending makes a little bit more sense, at least in terms of not using a squid. Like, that makes a little bit of sense.
Right.
There's other things that don't work, but so it's a tough spot to be in, because how do you you think a TV show it's longer, you could do a more accurate adaptation, but at the same time that's already been kind of done, so you have to make it different. It's like Sin City.
Right.
Which is the same thing. It's like, how do you do a TV show version of something that's already done once very accurately? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Could be interesting.
Yeah, we'll give you more news on it as time goes by.
Yeah,
when we actually form opinions.
Exactly. Yeah. What are opinions?
We're a fact-only show.
Yeah. I was listening to the Nerdist podcast with TJ Miller, and he made a comment about how it's better to be polarizing than neutralizing. I'm like, oh, that's a really good philosophy. Then I realized, I'm a very neutral person.
Oh, I'm a very neutral person.
Right. We don't even have strong opinions on this podcast.
It's Rosh.
Yeah. God damn it. So the only other like major news, which will eventually tie back to DC Comics, I swear, is Chris Miller and Phil Lord were fired from Han Solo.
I read something today about the direction they were going in, and I kind of understand why. And it's the same thing that happened with Flash. I'm going to steal your loop back to DC.
No, it's fine.
I think.
I mean, how dare you?
I think these are two guys that have a very have a very unique vision, and they're great at comedy. And they want to branch out, but they're branching out to the series that kind of don't really allow that. I don't know if you read the article this morning.
Yeah.
They were trying to basically make Han Solo Ace Ventura.
Okay.
Which I'm not too happy with.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's interesting. I guess the reason this is such a huge deal is that it's really rare that directors get fired.
Right.
Like, writers get replaced all the time because it's really difficult to have someone else come in and take over film as a director. And I mean, especially when it's an official transition. I mean, there's always stories about kind of guys coming in and helping on things. I might have mentioned before, like Chris McQuarrie kind of has that same sort of role as a producer. He comes in and just tweaks things. Or I think Dan Gilroy did it for Rogue One.
Right.
But you fire a director, that changes a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know what the rules are now, but at least the other story that comes to mind with this is the Superman movie from the 70s. Because Richard Donner filmed Superman 1 and 2 back-to-back. The schedule and the budget went overboard. The Salkins fired him, took the ending from Superman 2, slapped on the beginning at the end of Superman 1, the spinning around the world thing, and then Richard Lester took over on Superman 2, but to get credit as the full-time director, he had to reshoot like most of the movies had to be about 75% of him. So
wow.
the scenes that they'd already filmed and were good to go, they reshot literally just so that he shot them. I don't know if those rules still apply, if they do the same thing here. I don't know if the reshoots are already factored in to be extensive enough to cover that sort of thing. But I think they were about 75% of the way through when this happened. And obviously Ron Howard now is taking over.
And I'm happy enough with
Whatever.
that. Yeah. He's a very safe director.
He is, yeah. And he's obviously very talented. I think he hasn't made anything great in a while. I think his last.
Did you ever see Rush?
Yeah, Rush.
I just realized I hadn't seen it yet, and so it moved up in my queue.
Yeah, I think that's the last thing he made that I think one scene, but two, like I really enjoyed. I skipped any subsequent Dan Brown adaptations, and I didn't see the Chris Hemsworth whale movie.
Right, not Under the Sea.
Heart of the Sea?
Heart of the Sea.
Something like that? Yeah, so I don't know. I get why Kathleen Kennedy would have sided with Lawrence Kasdan, because, I mean, he wrote Empire. He wrote...
Right, yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a weird situation. It's probably for the best in the long run. And now this means that maybe Lord and Miller will come back and do The Flash.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. There was another interview, because there was a similar... I compared this situation, even though it's not the exact same, is to when Edgar Wright left Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And they just released all that information. He gave an interview talking about Baby Driver, about kind of the fight between writing and directing, and then when he was brought on to just be a director and not a writer, and how your heart's not really in it after that.
Makes sense.
And it was from him leaving Ant-Man that he got to do Baby Driver.
Yeah.
So maybe Miller and Lord are going to come back. If they don't do Flash, they might come back with another, great comedy.
Something else. Yeah, I mean...
Because we haven't had a good comedy in a while.
No, we haven't. And look, they're incredibly talented guys, and I amongst many people, was really excited when they got put on Han Solo. I was like, oh, maybe... Because they're the guys who can make a movie good when it shouldn't be. I mean, I think the best example of that is the Lego Movie.
I was going to say Clyde at the Chance of Meatballs.
That too, though. That too, right? So I was happy. I was sad to see them go, but at the long run, maybe this makes more sense. I mean... They are great filmmakers, but they don't necessarily know how to make a Star Wars film. And let's be honest, there's someone who knows how to do that. It's Kathleen Kennedy. So I guess in her we'll trust.
Right.
And also Lawrence Kasdan. He knows what he's doing on that regards. So
he's got it. And I assume, is William still doing the score?
I don't know if he was ever doing the score, actually.
Okay.
I think he's getting pretty old now. I think he's a little sick. So he might just be doing the major installments.
Okay.
I mean, with Giacchino doing Rogue One, they might be bringing in other people now to do that. So who knows? But we've seen now that DC is capable of making a good movie when they have people they trust. So maybe they'll bring Lord Miller back. Maybe we'll get a good Flash movie.
Yeah, because they can't. Yeah, I mean, like we said, they know how to make comedy.
Yeah,
and Flash should be a comedy with a superhero overlay.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, maybe it'll be good. And who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe down the line.
We don't.
Maybe down the line they'll do some reboots. Maybe even they'll do a reboot of Jonah Hex.
You spoiled it.
I didn't spoil shit.
You spoiled it. Our fans.
Our fans.
All that built up tension.
Yeah.
You just deflated it.
But I was trying to segue.
That was a bad segue.
It was so horrible.
I
I know.
honestly forgot there was a Jonah Hex movie until you said that.
I think most people forgot there was a Jonah Hex movie.
It kind of just merges with Cowboys and Aliens. They're all kind of the same thing for me.
It's hard to do a good modern Western.
Two Westerns I didn't see.
No.
That both have, like, weird... I don't know. Megan Fox was in one of them.
She's in Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. I've never seen it. Why bother?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we find out fairly quickly that Jonah Hex is in this episode.
I was very surprised.
It's spoiled for me because I brought up all of like the information on the episode beforehand,
okay.
so like to start like pre-taking notes before I watched it, and then I got kind of spoiled for me.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just making sure that our fans had the exact same experience.
Good.
Yeah.
This was
Our
a very
listeners.
unique Jonah Hex episode because Jonah pops up in, I want to say, every animated or Batman animated franchise.
I believe so. I did look this up. Let me bring it up again here. Yeah, because he is in this. He does pop up again in the JLU episode, The Once and Future Thing Part 1, when they're back in the Old West. He pops up in Brave and the Bold.
Yeah,
He pops
great
up
episode.
in Justice League Action. I don't think he shows up anywhere in Young Justice.
Well, I mean, there's no Batman story in Young Justice.
That's true. But yeah, he seems to have often connections with Batman storylines.
Yeah,
So.
and they're also usually the exact same story, which I'm fine with because it's a fun story. Batman gets thrown through time, and so this was for me a very unique telling of it.
It's one of the biggest departures from traditional structure I think we've seen in any episode.
Absolutely, and I wanted to bring up the fact that every iteration after this is a time travel episode. Do you think that would have been too much for where we are in the Batman universe right now?
I think so. Yeah, because I mean, we even talked about with the last Ra's episode that it felt weird to now have a legitimately supernatural villain in a show that otherwise has had like borderline supernatural elements, but they've all had a tinge of science to them or grounded in some sort of science, like animal mutations or even the Lazarus Pit. Right? It's kind of like an unknown natural
I was going to say
force.
even Zatanna and Zatara aren't really magic yet.
No, yeah, she never exhibited genuine magical abilities there. So yeah, I think it would have been bizarre. By the time you get to JLU, they've already done time travel stories. I think the first time travel story is in Justice League with Vandal Savage, and they end up going back to World War II.
Right.
I feel like that's the first one.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Unless
any
there was something in
Superman.
Superman?
I wouldn't know.
I don't know,
But
yeah.
I would say just having the Superman show opened it up because then
True.
you had aliens come in and you had not supernatural but more abstract villains and not just people in masks like Batman deals with.
Exactly, yeah. So no, I think it would have been bizarre. And the nice thing is they got to hold on to that and use it later, to what I recall being a really good episode.
Oh, it's a great episode.
Yeah. You've been rewatching that recently, right? Have you hit that one?
Like off and on.
Okay.
I'm sure I rewatched it and I just don't remember it.
Of course. But yes, I mean, this one, the structure is pretty basic. It's just that Ra's breaks into a retirement home and kidnaps somebody. And Batman and Robin go after him, but they've been given clues. So the plane is traceable, like obviously traceable, and there's a good old cassette disc that Robin throws into the console of the Batmobile. And
Which he did very, without any... that could have been, a trap.
I thought it was going to be. Like,
So did I.
I was like, oh, it's going to, sabotage the car. Because not that a cassette could have any ability to, disable a car.
didn't know
but
that
in this
in the
world
early
it could.
90s?
Yeah, in this world it could have,
You still have to turn your electric devices off in an airplane.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You didn't have electronic devices on an airplane in the early 90s.
Game Boys are out at this point.
Yeah, but did you actually have to turn them off back then?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, because you still had to turn off your Advance and SP in the early 2000s.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, in '93 I was traveling on planes, but I was young and I probably had a book in my hand or Thunderbird's,
What a nerd.
Thunderbird's Choice. Yeah,
What a nerd with his book.
yeah.
My parents loved me and gave me a portable DVD player.
I eventually had one of those as well. Yeah, just sit there and shut up.
Oh yeah.
But so, anyways, Russ starts telling a story from 1883. We're in, I think the town's called the Devil's Hole.
It's called the Devil's Hole. I wrote that down.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but we'll just move on from that.
Yeah.
And
What year was Back to the Future 3? 1885?
yes,
Okay.
because it's 1985,
Yeah,
1955.
100 years. Yeah, okay.
100 years. Yeah,
Sorry, I just remember when they first went into the past, I thought oh, this is the Back to the Future year.
I mean it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
We almost got to see Marty and Doc. I'm sure they would have incorporated it.
That's true. Well, I mean, to be fair, the way that Jonah Hex is drawn, like the long white hair, he looks a lot like Doc Brown.
He does.
Yeah, except for the grotesque,
The gaping scar.
the weird fucking face thing that's happening there.
It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hex is strolling into town along the Transcontinental Railroad, which is being built out there, and he's in search of Arcady Duvall, who's wanted for being an all-around jackass.
Yeah. And who has a great voice. Because I know who this one is this time.
You do? Okay, who is it?
Yes. Malcolm McDowell. McDowell?
Yes.
Who's in a lot of things.
He's in everything.
I briefly went through his IMDb page, and it was so much stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's most famous for Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And then for me, what he's most famous for is he's one of the teachers in Community. Which is, I think my most recognizable role for him, which I don't know how he feels about that. That's fine. He was, like the overarching villain of season 1 and 2 in Heroes.
Oh, season 2.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Lieberman.
I don't remember.
And in my favorite show, he is the voice of Mad Mod in Teen Titans.
Oh, God, that's right.
Yeah.
He is, isn't he?
That's the song that plays in one of his episodes is My Alarm Clock still.
No shit.
Yep.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, no, he's in everything. I'm looking up his IMDb right now. He has
so much
like
stuff.
20 projects that are just either announced or in production and don't even have like release dates. He's in everything. Not that this is like his most recognizable role for me, but I really like the first few seasons of Franklin and Bash.
Okay.
It's not a great show, but I really have a lot of fun with it, and he's in that as just like this crazy over the top like owner of the law firm. He's really funny and charming. He's got just an amazing fucking voice.
Absolutely.
Like I could listen to him and David Warner have conversations for hours. And I guess they were in
some
they were in a
late
movie.
70s.
They were movie together. It was right here. Oh, Time After Time.
Okay.
Oh, which is the H.G. Wells Jack the Ripper like time travel movie,
right?
Which they remade for TV with the hot guy from the 6th Harry Potter movie.
6.
He played McLagan, the guy that Hermione was like flirting with. This has nothing to do with anything.
Are you talking about Crumb? Victor Crumb?
No, 6, not 4. 6.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's a Hufflepuff.
Is he out?
Today is also the reason we're bringing this up. Today is the 20th anniversary of the first book.
Let's not
so
give
we
us
have
credit.
a reason to talk about this right now.
After the fact, it makes sense we're talking about it, but really it doesn't.
No, it's fine. He's the Richie Rich. He's a Gryffindor that wants to be, oh my gosh, I feel so bad right now. He wants to be on the Quidditch team.
Yeah, for a keeper.
That's the word.
Yeah,
I'm like not a chaser, not a beater, not a seeker. What's the last fucking one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways.
Why did I say he was a Hufflepuff? Who's the Hufflepuff that comes in? He's a Richie Rich snob.
I don't remember.
It's not important.
I know.
He makes fun of dentists. He's an asshole.
Wait, the guy is it from 2? Ernie
McMillan? I don't
that
think so.
Fuck it. What does it matter? The Batman.
This isn't a Harry Potter podcast. We don't need to know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should do a Harry Potter podcast.
No, we shouldn't.
No, moving on. So
it's too popular. It's too many people would listen to it.
Out there. Yeah. But so Hex talks to a prostitute at a saloon, who I guess this guy's come through and like roughed up one of her girls. So she helps him go out to like the desert, where there's a sky monster and a cave with glowing lights.
Yeah. I was expecting fireworks. I don't know why, but I'm like, oh, they're shooting out fireworks.
Fireworks? What?
I also realized.
Sky monster.
I also realize now that I think fireworks had already been invented in the 1800s because that's been in
that's been
China
around a long time.
Yes.
No, the big reveal here is that it's a massive airship, a hydrogen-filled airship. And I was curious to see if this was actually feasible for this to exist. More or less, it is. Like, it was hard to get a definitive answer as like when the first like actual like airship was used, but in the late 1800s, there was a lot of different prototypes getting tested here and there. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that there would be a hydrogen airship in 1883, especially if it's Ra's al Ghul who's behind it all, because he's been around a long time. He's a little smarter than everybody else. He's got resources. He's got means.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And and this time around, he is mad because the railroad, the Transcontinental Railroad, is destroying the land. Mm-hmm. So he decides he's going to go up in his airship and bomb the shit out of it until the U.S. declares him ruler.
Yeah. Master, what do you say? Master of America?
Master of America.
So that last part is kind of dumb. But the part you mentioned before is very important because Roz's goal is kind of like he is an environmentalist.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal of his overall goal is always for the good of the planet.
Yeah.
He doesn't do the greatest
job.
Job where he doesn't have the nicest means of accomplishing this.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see that, like, that is still his goal. His goal isn't to be a ruler. It kind of is.
It is, yeah.
But it's more to protect the planet.
Well, and it's funny, too, that these two episodes, both villains who one of their greatest weaknesses would be their arrogance, right? But the difference is with Roz, it's actually kind of coming from a place of legitimacy. Like, he has lived longer than pretty much anyone else on the planet. He's seen a lot of shit. He's seen the rise and fall of empires. He knows things. So you can understand why he would feel justified in feeling that he has the planet's like best interest in mind more so than normal people.
He's younger than Savage, right?
He is younger than Savage, yeah. So yeah, Savage technically does exist just because of the long continuity. We haven't met him yet, obviously. Right. But actually, that's a good point. I think they never cross paths.
I don't think they do.
Because I think once we get out of the Batman episodes, Roz is pretty much gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Savage kind of takes his place.
Yeah, he never pops up in Justice League that I can recall.
Roz does not.
Yeah, exactly. So that's too bad. Actually, I never realized they never crossed paths. That would have been interesting.
It would have been. It would have been weird. Because I feel like there'd be a power struggle.
But it'd be so interesting to see them go head to head.
And it is interesting to see they have different ideals. Because Savage does want to be a ruler.
Yes.
And he will do anything to achieve that.
Yeah. Roz doesn't necessarily need to be a ruler, but that might be part of his ends too. The means by which he saves the planet.
Yeah.
And I like it too, because even in this, especially at the end, which we'll get to, obviously,
some point,
because that's how time works. Even in this, like, you see why Batman respects him. Like, they are enemies a lot of the times, but you can tell that he respects him because he gets where he's coming from on some level.
Right.
Compared to, like, every other villain, which is just acting in self-interest or insanity.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love Roz so much.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
So we see the blimp. That's just what I'm going to call it.
It's a blimp. It's basically a blimp.
Yeah, it's a blimp. I liked how the metal workers looked like medieval knights.
Yeah.
All of the costumes in this episode seemed a little off. I don't know if you noticed that.
What, like even like Roz and...
No. The main cast was fine. It was all the henchmen. Everything seemed off.
Like there were like kind of... Yeah, you're right. Because some of the henchmen were dressed in like...
Pirates.
Like kind of crop top pirate sort of shirts.
So the blimp takes off and all of the goons are out of their medieval armor. And yeah, they're firing cannons in like bandanas tied to their head and white and red striped shirts. And I'm like... Where did he find pirates to work this? In the middle of the West.
It's Ra's al Ghul. He has means. He had pirates shipped in.
Apparently.
Yeah. That is kind of a fun sequence. Did you also think immediately Wild Wild West when we reached this point of the movie?
No, I should have.
Because this is literally now the plot from the end of Wild Wild West. It's like it's not a. You've never seen.
I only know the song. This is the second time in a week someone has shamed me for not seeing Wild Wild West.
Wait, who? Like, what other context?
I'm
would
trying to remember.
You for not seeing Wild Wild West.
Who was it?
I'm probably one of the few people on the planet who finds that movie to be really fun, even though it's fucking terrible.
I don't remember where I was, but I remember someone made it was at the Baby Metal concert. So it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, still though, recent history.
Yeah, there was a guy standing next to me who made some joke, and I'm like, oh, he made some like West joke, and I'm like, what a great Will Smith reference. He's like, oh yeah, that movie is great, and I'm like, yeah, I only know the song, and he's like, oh, you're an asshole. Have you not seen this movie? It's like, People have been really hating on my nerd.
They're
side.
calling you out. I mean, at
It's
least
been
that
a
one's
rough couple
At
weeks,
least that one's
man.
kind of justified. Maybe we'll do that recently. We'll make that a bad movie night.
All right.
We'll sit there and watch Wild Wild West.
Like the song is more popular than the movie.
It is. No, I was at Broad the other day and they were playing it actually.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Like people can't shame me for not knowing the movie. I know of the movie. I know
Yeah.
Will Smith is in it, and I know the title song.
okay. Well,
Get off my ass, people.
It's pretty dumb, but it's okay. It's fair you wouldn't think of it. But the end of that movie, again, it's not really much of a spoiler. It's just like this, which is basically someone is trying to destroy the Transcontinental Railroad with an advanced piece of technology.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same. I do have to say though, the sequence where they're bombing the city, like the town, is actually kind of cool. Like there's a really awesome shot of like 5 or 6 cannons going off simultaneously. They're all flying at the screen.
Yeah.
And they blow up an outhouse for some reason. I don't know, like because it's like the bank and like all these major buildings, and they randomly just show, like an outhouse explode. And I was like, was there someone in there?
I wonder if that's
Why?
like a because that's always like a Looney Tunes trope. Is someone like something will happen to the outhouse, and there'll always just be a person sitting in there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was waiting to happen.
Yeah.
it was weird. It was a weird inclusion. But of course, it's a hydrogen,
Right.
So
It's gonna blow up.
it blows up pretty easily.
There's actually to take a half step back. There was when I was first researching kind of the backstory of Batman and seeing how people review it. Basically, one of the ways people judge animation, which I thought was such an interesting way to view this, is judge it on the fire and explosions. Like if those are good, then
interesting.
the entire episode's going to be good.
Yeah. So how did this come out?
This is beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But you're the animation expert, so
And it just kind of came back to me, and I thought that was very interesting.
yeah. I mean, the whole. It's an odd episode, but I really liked it. Like I think it's got a good pace to it. It's a little bit different, and then the ending of it's actually really awesome. I mean, Jonah Hex, like single man army sort of thing going through Die Hard style.
Yeah.
And destroying this thing, and the fact that it ends with him and Arcady having like a knife fight on this exploding, sinking airship. It's actually really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's no shirtless Batman.
Well, no,
But it's still a pretty awesome sword fight.
nothing's
It's a great
shirtless
sequence.
Batman unless it's shirtless Robin. So
He's a child.
he's not a child in this.
Um,
Let me clarify: Dick Grayson Robin, not Tim.
Right,
Robin.
no,
That one
I
actually is a child, and not Jason Todd because he's dead.
he's dead.
yeah,
Or Damien, he's not even born yet.
yeah. No, that would just be weird.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah, I can't say it's not a Batman episode because it's still like Jonah Hex is still Batman
Yeah,
in a sense. Like he's
you could have taken the same basic plot beats and more or less had it be Batman all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I like that they had that change up, that it's Jonah Hex kind of do the same thing. And I think the bookends on it, especially the final bookend, are really strong.
oh yeah, it was a big twist I was not expecting.
I couldn't remember if I'd seen this episode or not. When we got to the twist, I'm like, maybe I have, because I vaguely recalled something like this occurring. Mm-hmm. But so we kind of were wondering the entire time of this whole episode, who do they take from the retirement home? Like, well, it probably can't be Jonah Hex.
Yeah,
Jonah
it
Hex
has to be one of the two.
Yeah.
You know that. It has to be Jonah Hex or
Arcady
Malcolm
Duvall.
McDowell.
Yeah, we're Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, just Malcolm McDowell as himself.
Yeah.
In this. Yeah, because Jonah Hex is pretty old and he's lived a rough life even by the time we meet him in the show. So we eventually find out that it's Duvall. We're like, how the fuck is he still alive? And why don't you explain the twist, Cameron?
So Roz is kind of wheeling him to his plane. And I think the only way he could stay alive is if he had access to the Lazarus Pit. And then Roz kind of makes the connection for Batman. He's like, yes, he is my son. You know, I've tried multiple times to create an heir worthy of, you know, my world. And he was not. He was too kind of arrogant and
yeah, and I forget what
said some bad words about his son. Which is fine.
Yeah, because the son's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And quite reckless. It doesn't have Roz's temperament. I forget how did he lose track of him? Like he got
Jonah arrested him.
Oh, that's right. He got sent to 50 years hard labor,
And they expected him to die, but he didn't because he had the Lazarus juice
right.
flowing through him.
So he survived it, but he kind of came out broken. I think from the experience, right?
Yeah, and then kind of disappeared.
Yeah, and he popped up again in the retirement home. So Roz went after him, and I love what Roz says to Batman's like. What I think was like our swords will cross another time or something like that. But this time, just let me take my son home. And
Yeah.
Batman just doesn't say a word. Just
Yeah, it was very
turns around.
humanizing of Roz.
Again, it shows that respect that he has for him at the end of the day. That he didn't really commit a crime. He didn't really hurt anyone. I mean, he gassed an entire building, but no one died.
Of old people. I mean, they were going to die eventually, but
Yeah. I mean, it's probable that maybe one of them maybe didn't come out of that gas.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But I mean, it also might have not been the gas's fault.
There's that. Yeah. but yeah, Bats. Bats lets him
Batsy,
go.
yeah.
Bats, yeah. Everyone calls
Batsy.
him Batsy. People who know him call him Batsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, lets him go. I really liked it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget this. I have two quick tangents.
Yeah.
This one's super short. Malcolm McDowell also voiced a villain in Captain Planet, which I think is amazing and so funny.
He did,
and like,
didn't he?
Very
Yeah.
slightly relevant to this episode. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, there's environmental elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a planet. The other one is a video I watched a while ago, and I found it again just for this episode. But did you ever watch either the YouTube or the TV show Adam Ruins Everything?
I know of it.
Okay. He does
Does he ruin Malcolm McDowell?
Yes. No. He does a 5-minute short about how prostitutes kind of drove the force of the Old West.
Okay.
Or I say were the driving force of the Old West. And it's very fascinating, and I recommend people watching it because I'm not going to get all the points down exactly. But basically, before women made their way out west, there weren't really towns or cities. They were all pretty much just work camps.
Oh, interesting.
And when women found out they could kind of, it's not the dream job, but it's the most kind of, what's the word? Not prosperous. Economically friendly job.
You can make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just a living. Like, women in the Old West made more money than most of the men. They held a lot more power than a lot of in office they held a lot of power in these towns and cities popping up. And actually it was in Wyoming, I want to say, in like the late 1880s, they were the first state. This was before they were even a state. They let women vote 50 years almost before the rest of the country
Holy
did.
shit.
Yeah. And it was because, they held all of this power. And there's a bunch of stories about how all of these rich women kind of gave health care to the railroad workers and helped kids go through school and get into college. It was it's a very interesting.
That's
kind
awesome.
of, yeah.
So what is he ruining in that episode?
Just kind of the ideal, the visualized Wild West of like gunslingers and
Oh, okay.
It's a man's world. We just
Yeah.
we just sleep with these women and pay them money, and then we go on our way.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What? I'll have to check that out because that will be really interesting to see the other side of things there.
Yeah.
I guess we see a hint of that here. Like, did she ever
No,
named?
just barmaid.
Is it really just barmaid? Hang on, I got the IMDb page open here.
Because there was on the Amazon thing, there was like a small note.
Yeah, I guess it's... Oh, because it was her last role, the actress.
Before she passed away.
Elizabeth Montgomery. Yeah, I guess she is just barmaid. But yeah, I mean, she kind of sets everything in motion
Going
there.
out with a bang.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but oh no, that's awesome though. Yeah, I don't have like too much trivia on this one. I did look a little bit, looked up Jonah Hex a little bit. There's not much worth talking about. He basically just has like a super fucked up life. He's constantly getting shot. He's constantly betraying someone or getting betrayed by someone.
Yeah, I was going to give the sentence history of he started out as a slave, became a Confederate soldier, and then that's where he got burned, and then he became a bounty hunter.
Yeah, and I guess he turned on he kind of turned on the Confederates. Like he realized that he could no longer support a system that was keeping people enslaved, so he turned himself in and by accident revealed the location of his squadron, his other Confederate soldiers. He was he gave himself up, but he was trying to be honorable, and that fell apart. And it's like everyone he meets at some point dies. Yeah,
I mean it's very much a Batman story.
Yeah,
he can't be close to anyone.
Exactly. I'm worse though. I'd say way worse.
Yeah,
yeah. I only have seen a few things with him, like this, JLU.
In the bad Batman series that I continue to bring up, comic series, the Death of Bruce Wayne. There's an issue when it's Wild West Batman where he meets up with Jonah Hex.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that one's kind of cool.
Is it actually a bad series?
It's just so odd.
Okay, well, it's Grant Morrison.
Yeah, because it's a six issue miniseries. The first issue is Caveman Batman, and then it's I want to say Medieval Batman, and then Pirate Batman.
Oh, Pirate Batman.
Wild West Batman, Noir Batman, and then he gets back to the present.
Okay.
But he was like not supposed to get back to the present because it's going to create some weird time warp that I don't think ever actually happened. I don't know. The series ended in such a weird place.
Okay. Maybe I'll read it. I don't know.
It's 6 issues.
Okay.
I mean, you can or you can't. It doesn't really matter.
It's going to completely
It's not going to be on
redirect
anyone's
my
list
life.
of like have to read this. It is cool to see like the different iterations. I mean, it's just like a big fan art compilation. Like it's cool to see, you know, Batman where his cape is just like animal hide and he has a club.
Yeah. Pirate Batman sounds pretty awesome.
Pirate Batman was probably
he's got
the
a big
coolest
beard
one.
too, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I feel like Pirate Batman needs to have a beard.
I think so. He
A
should.
parrot.
We can draw that.
Little Robin on his shoulder.
Yes, exactly.
Anything else on this episode?
That's kind of it for all I had.
Okay. So our sponsor this week is Your One Mission.
I don't know that one.
So it's from Micah, and I think
Micah does too much.
Micah does a lot. Yeah.
Did I plug his
You did.
This is Mythical? Okay.
Yes. Yes. 'Cause I remember looking up all the links for it and including it in our episode description.
Okay.
Because that's something I do. I don't know if you knew that.
I mean, I look at the link sometimes.
But yeah, no, I did put that in there. But yeah, so this is a podcast he does, and he's never actually on it, or maybe he like guest stars on an episode. The idea is you bring in 2 people, and they have to complete a mission. So like one of the ones I listened to was creating the next young adult trilogy, or like fix the economy or something like that. Like they're just given a broad mission. The 2 people have an hour to come up with a solution for it. It's pretty cool.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So it's worth checking out. And here's the promo for it.
First, there was John Benet Ramsey. Then there was Jonathan Lipnicki. Then was John Wilkes Booth. Already being deemed a modern classic.
Do not be alarmed. Make no indication that this advertisement is compromised. We are the Mission Commission, a cabal formed to subvert the worldwide government. Each week, we lock 2 unsuspecting geniuses in a room and force them to invent, solve, and innovate. Ensure humanity's progress. Subscribe to Your One Mission on iTunes. Your program will resume shortly.
Tune into the Nerdist School Network. Exclusive listen to Johns with Johns. And now back to your podcast.
Yeah, and so
Ooh. I feel like I have to do that every time, even though we never listen to the ads.
Well, you've never listened to the.
I mean, I'm saying when we take that cut,
Yeah.
we will sit here for 5 seconds.
Did you listen to our Wonder Woman crossover?
Not yet.
Oh my
Stop
God,
shaming me.
man!
It's been a long week. 2 weeks.
Haven't seen Wild Wild West. Haven't listened to our Wonder Woman crossover.
Stop shaming me.
I'll find something else to shame you on.
I'm sure I'll say something stupid in this next episode.
Yeah, it's going to happen. On the plus side, you have a really nice hat.
Thank you.
So, yeah. But anyways, Your One Mission is to go check out One Mission.
Yeah.
Your One Mission. But now we're on to the Riddler.
Riddler's back.
Your favorite.
Yeah.
I love this.
This was a good episode.
This is really
This was such a
I think.
awesome episode.
Okay, I'll ask this question at the end. Okay, but
We're going to rank Riddler episodes because that's going to be very difficult for me.
Well, kind of.
All right.
Okay, so this one starts out in the classic tradition of animation. A newspaper gets thrown out, and we see the Riddler has been released into the wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
For good behavior. He didn't escape Arkham. He was let out of Arkham for good behavior.
Yes.
So this
he's
is a first.
Yeah, he's on parole.
Mm-hmm.
And a truck pulls up to a loaded dock at a toy fair, the Gotham Convention Center, and some kind of big guys are hauling out a giant Riddler question mark box, and Batman and Robin swoop in and are like, "What the fuck are you doing? Last time you had one of these boxes, you tried to kill the commissioner."
Mm-hmm. And Riddler's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Did you see the paper? I'm a good person now.
Yeah.
So obviously Batman doesn't believe him. I mean, obviously, like, yeah, I probably wouldn't believe him either. But Batman's whole thing is, kind of restoring the villains to a good mental state.
That's a good point.
Because he never wants to kill. He always wants to heal.
Yeah.
If a villain says they're healed and they're let out, I mean, I understand. I wouldn't believe them either.
Yeah.
But he had this issue with Penguin, a good dozen episodes before
Or Poison
this.
Ivy.
Yeah, and Poison Ivy. Mm-hmm. Where, like, as someone who always wants to believe in the good of his villains, he never trusts his villains.
But, and I agree with you that doesn't quite work. And I mean, I guess at least with Poison Ivy, he reaches the point where he definitely wants to believe her, although his gut tells him not to. And with the Penguin, I feel like it's been a while. I don't remember the episode that well. I will say with this though,
The Penguin, he wanted to be good.
that's true. Yeah, the Penguin's actually legitimately
Batman
trying.
just like didn't believe him at all.
Yeah, I would understand why with the Riddler in particular he wouldn't believe him, because the Riddler, maybe more so than any of the other villains, is completely driven by ego, and he's not.
And we definitely see that in this episode.
Yeah, and he's not crazy in the same way that, say, like, Two-Face is, right? Where he was, like, a relatively good person who was, like, driven mad. Mm-hmm. He is just flat out just an egotistical, driven asshole. He's obsessive. He's obsessive about the game. He's always compelled. We're always talking about this. He's compelled to always leave riddles. So I can understand why Batman would not believe him, just because, I mean, the whole point of this is that the Riddler can't let go.
Right.
So good.
Yeah. So Batman kind of has a talk with Riddler. Riddler says he's good now. This box isn't full of anything bad. It's toys. He's teamed up with Charles Baxter.
Yep. Of Wacko Toy Corp.
Wacko Toy. Good old Animaniacs reference.
Yeah. I've actually been rewatching the Animaniacs.
So good.
It is really good, yeah.
There was another little moment in this episode that was a nice pull to Animaniacs. We'll get to it later. Mm-hmm. And Baxter believes him. Baxter is just kind of this like generic,
just a business guy.
Rich. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Wait, fuck, what's that from?
Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh god, that's right. I was like, what's the Doug
Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Okay, now let's go back. I couldn't remember what Dimsdale was.
Yeah,
you can shame me for that.
I can't shame anyone for not knowing Dimsdale. So they've created a line of Riddler toys and puzzles because, similar to the Joker's Wild, was that the name of the episode?
The casino.
Yeah, similar to that, these Richie Rich types are banking off of the marketability of these villains. The Riddler name is very well known in Gotham. He knows he's going to sell toys based off of him.
Yeah, and they're all puzzles, that sort of thing.
Just kind of like, obviously it's a scumbag move.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I mean, yeah, he is like an attempted murderer.
Yeah.
Multiple times over. It's generally not the person you want to be your spokesman, but
he's great at toys and puzzles.
That's true. I mean, he's so clever.
So he gives this very cryptic message to Batman as they're leaving. And then, Batman and Robin are sitting in...
Oh, yeah. He's like, it's like, oh, yeah, that's ancient history. Like, I'm a new man. Like, I've moved on from all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So they get back to the Wayne Manor, and they turn on the TV, and there's a news report going on about, Newman...
what I actually love is the first thing is they're talking about the Penguin's trial, and that D.A. Van Dorn is, like, really pressing. I thought that was clever. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, again, like, it's a whole cohesive universe. You can just have throwaway references to these other characters. And that all works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For nerds like us to pick up on.
Like, talking about being obsessive here.
Right.
Yeah.
So then there's a news report about this kind of... what is it?
It's a commercial, right? Oh no,
no, it's about a store getting robbed, and it's an antique store. That's
right. Yeah, an antique store gets robbed. Yeah,
named Newman and Co. Newman
something like that. Yeah.
And Batman's like, oh, it's obviously the Riddler. He said all of this to me. And there is that moment where, like, obviously, I want to believe Riddler. I want to think he's a good person.
Of course, you do.
And I think Robin is also like. Robin also kind of wants Riddler to be better.
I think Robin generally errs on the lighter side. He's less paranoid.
He's a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Whereas Batman just breaks the glass.
Exactly, yeah. Knocks off the table.
Yeah. Because there's a moment where, they kind of question it, like, is this Riddler or am I just kind of being paranoid? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the theme for the first 2/3 of the episode. And so then there's a commercial that comes on after that for Riddler's toys with another not as cryptic message. He kind of holds up a number.
Yeah, so he has a chalkboard. It's like time for riddle number. I had to write all this down. 31753071. Right, and so then he flips the chalkboard over, and it's a big old map. And it's I don't know. It's like, where in the world can you get the best riddles? Like, well, from Wacko Toys. But Batman's like, wait a minute, that's an 8-digit number, which could be a map code. So he goes and pulls a map out, and he looks, and it's like, oh, that pinpoints to the financial district and the First National Bank. So the Batmobile, off they run.
But they're wrong, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
They're wrong. Batman was fooled.
They're standing there in the rain, and no one's there. Nothing's happening. But then he thinks about it for a second.
He flips over the code, and it's an address, which is fine. Whatever. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is they realize it's an address, and
so you flip it over, it's 10 Leslie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goons are there robbing the place, and they're talking to... Riddler is not there. He's talking to them through kind of walkie-talkies.
Yeah, these little... they're kind of like pool ball-sized circular walkie-talkies
that
are part of his line of toys.
But what I don't understand is Riddler is... like, I don't understand why the henchman would do this, because the way the conversation sounded, the Riddler was basically just having them stay there until Batman showed up.
Yeah, I guess it's true, wasn't it?
Because, the conversation was, he still isn't here, boss.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you can leave then. I'm like, what kind of... what goons would agree to this?
You can see why the Riddler do it, but you're right. Why would they sign up for that?
Yeah. And at the end, we do hear that they sell him out immediately.
Well, you would. Yeah.
Oh, so that makes sense. So then Batman does show up. He beats up the goons. And we see Riddler is at a big fancy schmancy Richie Rich party. Talking about his toys.
The lovely ladies of Gotham are flirting with him.
And they have the great the cartoon boing sound when a cute girl comes in.
I know.
Loved it.
Was that your Animaniacs reference?
No, there's one more.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think it's around this scene. He makes this face, and I wish I would have screen captured or something.
Oh, it's like his mouth kind of talks like.
Yeah, and it's the wacko face.
Great for the listeners, but yeah, it is.
That face that wacko makes. I guess it's not why it's Yakko is the one that makes that face.
But his mouth's kind of off the side, down on angles, eyebrows are raised. It's like, oh.
It's a very Looney Tunes cartoony expression. I really enjoyed that little moment.
Hello, nurse.
Oh, that comment got me in a lot of trouble in college.
What?
I had a last tangent. I took an animation it was an abstract animation class in college by this very strange, very German abstract artist. She showed us some of her clips, and that is a great way to describe her. She is a very abstract.
Okay.
So the last project we had to do was a walk cycle and talk cycle. So you had to just have someone walking across the screen and saying something.
Okay.
So I basically made... it was initially I wanted to make... Walt Disney doing something, couldn't figure out what to do, so I kind of scrapped that, made a more cartoony version of Walt. It wasn't supposed to be Walt, but he still had that mustache.
Sure.
He walks across the screen, and then a nurse walks the other way, and he turns, and I take the audio, and he says, "Hello, nurse." He winks to the camera, then it fades to black. And she was she almost failed me on that project.
Yeah.
Because she was so offended. And I'm like, it's from a kid's show. And she's like, that doesn't make it any better. And I understand, yes, that is kind of a very sexist thing.
Yeah.
But I was also the only one that did the actual project.
Oh, really?
That's what made me more angry than anything, was that, you're punishing me, the person who actually did it correctly.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the class, didn't even make things talk or move.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just grade me on my work, not on my mentality.
Yeah, I guess that'd be tough. If you don't know... the Animaniacs, where that comes from, especially, you'd be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because even going back and rewatching the show, I love that show.
We need to look for fingerprints.
Yeah, right? No, thank you. Out the window. But we've talked before that maybe it's kids' cartoons in the 90s that have the best sexual politics, and the Animaniacs, as much as I love, is included in that. But it's really funny, though. You got in trouble.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had 100 in the class going into that, and I think I ended with an 86.
Oh, wow.
So that's how poorly she graded me on that project. So back to Batman. Yeah. Sorry, that's not going to be my last tangent.
No, there's no way that's possible. But yeah, so,
Batman, it shows up to the party, talks to Riddler.
Well, so this is a cool moment, too, though, because the Riddler's in the middle of, talking with all these girls who are flirting with him, and then the host or whatever is like, oh, there's a phone call for you in the room. So he goes into the room and he looks himself in the mirror and it's like, oh, Like, you're adorable. That's what one of the girls said to him. And like, knowing the line, the phone hangs up, and Batman's just like in there. He had called it in. He's like, adorable, huh? It's just like, God, he knows how to just get right to someone.
Yeah, he can get under their skin.
Go for the soft spots.
Yeah. So he's kind of having this talk. He knows Riddler's behind all this, but he can't prove it yet. Riddler has like a secret switch that lifts the entire wall up.
Yeah, he clicks on his walkie-talkie so everyone else who has one in the party can hear Batman
being paranoid.
Yeah, not really interrogating him, but questioning him. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole party kind of laughs at him. Batman vanishes in his cool fashion.
Yeah, well, I love it. It's a weird moment in a lot of ways, right? Because it's always odd when you put Batman in a room full of normal people. But I actually love this scene because everyone is laughing at him, and the Riddler's laughing at him, and it doesn't faze him.
No.
At all. Which, that, if anything, is actually an incredibly intimidating move to do. Like, to just stand there and have, like that would scare people.
And it's also like it's a rich party. These are his normal.
Yeah, that's
people.
actually like
Bruce Wayne would have been expected to be at this party.
Yeah, but he's just there, and like he doesn't. He kind of like ends it with like he says something to Riddler.
He says something awesome. He says, "You can't help yourself. You can't stop."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and then
you love the game too much.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just going straight for the point. He's basically just telling the Riddler to his face, "You have an ego. You won't let this go." And yeah, then the most dramatic exit ever was like a lightning strike, and Batman like flaps his cape up, and then he disappears at the window, and the whole party's like, "Oh."
Do you think he's been planning that move?
Oh,
I feel like he only goes to parties, like to interrogate people at parties when there's a lightning storm.
Yeah,
and he wasn't waiting for them while they're laughing. He was just waiting for that lightning strike.
That's true. He was just
like he could have been standing there for hours.
He was listening to the thunder and like watching the lightning, going, "Oh wait, it's coming. All right, moment.
I'm out.
Cape." Yeah, so he heads out of there, and then the Riddler is getting all pissed off because he acknowledges to his henchmen he can't let go, and Batman is as he puts it, is the only one worthy of the game. Mm-hmm. So he's like, okay, I know how I'm going to solve this problem.
Going to kill the Batman.
Yep. And
he becomes very Jokerish at that point.
He does.
I mean, he's always been a little Jokery, but I mean, the Joker's whole thing is one can't live without the other.
Yeah.
Going back to the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter.
Yeah. Okay.
And we see that. So he sets up this very fun doomsday trap.
Yeah, he puts out another commercial, and it's like, go back to where it all started with toys. And so Batman knows he's going to go back to the toy fair. Yeah, and then he's got this big elaborate trap.
Yeah. Oh, also, Robin broke his foot and all this, so he can't come and help.
Yeah, because Robin always has to be incapacitated somehow.
Right.
So
he goes, Riddler has this bomb set up, he locks off all the doors, Batman can't escape, bomb goes off. And we see this very, very, not touching, but like, fascinating moment where I saw the Joker in this scene, where as the convention center blows up, Riddler doesn't kind of take that as his moment of triumph. He quits being the Riddler. He throws his mask, hat, and jacket in the fire.
What else do you do at that point, right? In his mind, he's won.
Yeah, and if there's no one else, because he's so into the chase, he's beaten the police, he's beaten everyone. Batman's the only one he sees as an equal.
Only one worthy of the game.
Yeah. Right? And now that he's gone, he's done with the game. The game's over. And that was a very, it's obviously the Joker mentality right there.
You're right. It's similar to, but like just different enough that again, like the show proves once again that like they know how the villains are different from each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But surprise, Batman didn't die.
What?
Who could have guessed?
Yeah. But it's great though because the Riddler is like, wait, you have to tell me. Fine, I'll tell you. Like where I stashed all the loot and how I got away with it if you tell me
how you got out.
Yeah. Batman's just like, nope.
And you find out he used his recording device toy to trick the Riddler into kind of confessing. The police come in, arrest him.
Use his own toy against him.
Yeah.
It's so great. And then he just refuses to tell the Riddler how he survived.
Mm-hmm. I kind of thought they weren't going to tell the audience either and just be really lazy writers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and what I love about this is the whole... Actually, no, go ahead and explain how he survives, and I'll bring my point.
He Indiana Joneses it.
Yeah.
There's a safe in the room, and so right before the explosion goes off, he locks himself in the safe.
Yeah. And that what I've liked about that moment is it actually feels very reminiscent of the 60s. Like, that would always happen, right? It's like they are certainly going to die, and then from the most absurd means possible, they survive. It's very much like they wrote themselves into a hole and they just came up with like a simple solution. That's kind of the way here, but I feel like it works.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason it works is in that moment, Batman actually doesn't know what to do. Like, it's a great scene when like
you see him truly panic.
Yeah, I mean all the doors are getting closed with shutters, the skylight closes off, cuts off his rope, and he's like diving around. It's like, what the hell do I do? What now? And then he's really smug with himself as he explains to Robin.
He's
and Alfred.
so proud of himself.
I mean, it's a pretty good move.
Yeah.
And he's just super satisfied too because the Riddler won't let it go.
Yeah, and that's the final scene of the episode is Riddler screaming to the heavens, "How did you do it? I need to know, I need to know, I need to know," which is kind of his mantra at the end.
Yeah. It's so good. I've talked about this before, but when I was a kid, I had 2 episodes of the Riddler, like 2 Riddler episodes of the animated series on VHS. It was this one and then the first Riddler episode.
Okay.
And
if you have so much money,
if
you're so rich,
if you're so smart, why aren't you rich?
Okay, that's the one.
Yeah, and I love this. Is I think one of the best episodes of the series. So, and my question to you, especially as the big Riddler fan you are, which of the 2 do you prefer? I mean, because we've had the middle one with the VR, which was not that great, but these are both
90s VR is always great, Chris.
It's always amazing. VR Troopers is fantastic, but those 2 Riddler episodes definitely some of the best in the series. For you, which one's the better one?
Oh man, I mentioned this before, but the first Riddler episode was my very first Batman episode, so it holds such a strong nostalgia kind of connection to it. But I think this one was probably the better story.
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
I would say this one is probably the better episode.
Yeah, there's an element of complexity here that's pretty cool because
it's not just kind of bullshit riddles like the last one where it was flickering lights, and obviously that's Morse code.
Yeah, no, these riddles, like, for the most part, make sense.
I was a little sad that I couldn't, because I did pause it when the numbers came up, and I tried to I wanted to solve them myself.
I tried that too. Yeah,
and you kind of can't because they're all in Gotham.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work.
Yeah,
but I really love this.
This is such a good episode
because it really understands what drives the Riddler. It understands him as a character fundamentally. It shows why the dynamic between him and Batman is super interesting. Like, I think the Arkham games do a really good job with this.
Oh, absolutely.
Too, and I think that this is, in a condensed format, the best version we've seen of the 2 of them squaring off and why they are so interesting against each other.
Because it is 100% a mental fight.
Yeah.
Like, Riddler I don't think he threw a punch the entire episode.
No, it's completely a battle of wits. Yeah. And, God, it's just so
this was a really good
so
episode.
Good. Yeah, again, like you, this carries a special place in my heart because I watched it a lot as a kid. One of the episodes I've seen the most. But no, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I did have one last little note about this. So obviously, there's always that idea that Batman creates his villains. I don't think for the most part, I don't think he created the villain, or he created the Riddler. But he definitely pushes his mental deterioration.
Yeah.
He's not very helpful to the Riddler.
No, he's not.
Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, he has no trust in him.
No. Well, so if you think about it, with Riddler's first episode, if Batman hadn't interfered, if the Riddler had killed Mockridge and gotten out of town, that would have been the end of it.
Right.
So that what drives the Riddler now was not what drove him in the past. His first mission was one of revenge. Now he's driven by the need to play a game with Batman. So in a sense, he didn't create the Riddler, but he has created the version of the Riddler that now is going to persist.
Right.
So yeah, it still kind of works.
Yeah.
Right on. I'm not going to bother trying to segue into bat plugs. What
are you watching? You go first this time.
I'll go first. So, in honor of our dearly departed Adam West, I knew there was an animated movie, Batman Return to the Caped Crusader, which reunited.
That's the one that came out last year, right?
Yeah, like a year or so ago. Yeah, so it was Adam West, it's Burt Ward, it's Julian Newmar reprising their respective roles of Batman, Robin, and Catwoman. Obviously, the actors who voice Penguin and Caesar Romero.
The great villain Caesar Romero.
The great villain Caesar Romero. Yeah, the Joker, Penguin, and Riddler have everyone else has changed because everyone else is dead. But it's an odd movie. It's not great. I think if you're a fan of that 60s world, it's worth watching because they do some clever stuff. And what's kind of fun about this is it acknowledges the fact that the Batman from the 60s was not the Batman we know, and it kind of pushes Batman in that direction a little bit, and then has the world address why that's weird in that context. I think it's fun. It knows what it's trying to emulate really well. I think the problem with it is it's a little bit long and it's a little bit disjointed. It's kind of like almost like three. It's definitely not like an episodic sort of thing, but there's kind of three independent story beats sort of that don't feel that well connected. So it's a little disjointed. It's not quite as like fast and fun as the show or the movie. But it's worth a watch if you're a fan of the. I had to buy it actually, so if you we'll watch it at some point.
Yeah.
I couldn't rent it, so I had to buy it.
It's on my list.
So that's worth watching. And then the other plug is actually a little more personal. A friend of mine, Andrew, works for a company called Input Club. He actually helped co-found it, and they do these amazing custom keyboards. I'll tell you about this, the White Fox.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and so they did a Kickstarter to basically raise money so that they can build and distribute this really awesome keyboard, and I can't do it justice.
Typing keyboard, not piano keyboard.
Yes, not piano keyboard, typing keyboard. But no, and like their whole philosophy is that everything is open source. So the designs, all the firmware, the software, everything is all open source. So you can customize it and do what you want with it. It's gorgeous, and like Andrew and his friend Jacob, his partner on this. Obviously, I know them pretty well. I helped them make their Kickstarter video. They really, really care about just delivering an amazing keyboard. So I will link to the Kickstarter page. Go check it out. It's really, really awesome.
It's our sponsor for the week.
He's not our sponsor because he's not paying me. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah. It's just, it's a cool thing.
Yeah. You showed it to me on Friday, and it looked really awesome.
Yeah. So, and our friend Shane somehow weirdly has become obsessed with keyboards, coincidentally. So.
Yeah. It's, everyone's got their thing.
Yeah, but what have you been checking out?
I think the biggest thing right now is Glow.
Oh, yes.
I burnt through that series in 24 hours. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It's just such a great, like, hit of the 80s. Like, it's not even like a subtle. It's a very much a slap in the face. This is the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least how I imagine the 80s to be.
Yeah, I just started it, and it's right there. It's a lot of fun.
And personal connection to Nerdist podcast or Nerdist School.
Oh yeah,
Rebecca Johnson, who teaches level 1 as part of the faculty and the staff at Nerdist School. She plays one of the wrestlers, and she's amazing. She's so funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you've met her yet in the show.
No, I'm only like 20 minutes in.
Okay, yeah, show so much fun. Allison Brie is still such an amazing person.
Oh yeah, no, she's incredible.
And then other than that, I've been rereading the Scott Pilgrim series again because I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah, whatever. If you love reread them, why not?
Yeah, so they just finished the last book in color, so I bought the first 3 in color because you can never have too many sets of that.
No,
and it makes my heart so happy.
Oh. It makes me happy that it makes you happy.
Yeah.
I haven't read any of it, though.
Oh, you can borrow the black and white set.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, don't give me the good ones.
No.
No, absolutely not.
But I think that's all we got for this week.
Yeah, I think so. So
ran a little long, but
yeah, it's not that
thank
bad.
You guys for sticking with us.
Yeah, every once in a while we have super tangenty episodes.
That's fine. This is a good one for it.
That's fine. But yeah, if you want to write to us and tell us to stop going on such ridiculous tangents,
we're not going to listen, but thanks for writing.
Yeah, we appreciate it. You can reach us at Timm Talk Pod on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And I'm at Lordifer on all those same things.
I'm at Cameron.Dexter on just Instagram.
On just Instagram. Yeah.
Fuck Twitter. Fuck words. I'm a picture-only person.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm still not convinced you can read.
I can't.
Yeah.
Why would I?
Yeah. Do you have a new Disney thing coming out soon?
Yeah. At some point. I have like 3 that are maybes right now.
Okay. Exciting, non-committal response there.
Yeah.
Look out for those eventually. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. I forget what's next week. Oh wait,
it's gonna be a surprise for all of us.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna look it up. It's gonna be a surprise for everybody. Exciting times. But again, thank you for listening. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.